Mic'd up.
Good evening. Welcome to Yankees Coast to Coast with my host, Michael Miller and Adam Schneider here at your cervix. So, folks, what a great day this is. This is a special show. Mike, you feeling good? Are you ready for the World Series?
I'm very James Brown right now. I feel good.
Yeah, I can feel that soul coming out of you, man. I can feel
Yes, I have a lot of soul. You should see my feet. I'm sliding across the carpet right
you
now.
are
Sliding across the carpet like James Brown.
of
Anyhow,
you,
folks,
my friend.
it is that time of year which we did not know we would get to. Yankees World Series.
How many times did Kramer say in our chat over the last year, this is not a world championship team?
Well, he's still right. We've got a series to go.
They are not he said that this is not a World Series, a world championship caliber team.
Right.
So,
well, they're caliber.
Right. They're not.
So anyhow, this is what it comes down to. Major League Baseball and the networks got exactly what they wanted. Or as one person may claim, it was rigged. It was rigged. The fix was in. It's a rigged election. But the best regular season players, Judge and Ohtani, in the World Series. The two biggest U.S. markets in the World Series. The two most globally known Major League Baseball teams in the World Series. The biggest baseball star in the world, Shohei Ohtani, in the World Series. He may actually be the biggest non-soccer player star athlete in the world.
And would you say that Judge is the most popular baseball player in the United States?
I don't know. We don't get any Judge commercials here. I don't know. You guys probably get some. There is not a single commercial.
Judge is all over L'Oreal. He has. He's the new. I think he's the new polo guy or something. He's something my wife is always talking about.
We have not. I don't see Judge on any commercials. I see Ohtani on several commercials.
Yeah.
Not as often as you see the Kelsey brothers, and not as often as you see Jake from State Farm or Peyton Manning, but Ohtani is everywhere. And we don't get Judge commercials. So for today's show, we're going to stick to our World Series preview. We're going to also let you know that about 30 to 60 minutes after each World Series game, we're going to go live with a post-game show.
I'm going to edit you on that. It's probably not going to be 30 to 60 minutes. It may be right after, because then we're probably going to lose whatever audience we do have. But we will not be on long. We'll probably do 15 minutes when they win, 30 when they lose.
Because it depends on how the game goes, on how screwy the game is. I mean, some of those Guardians games and some of those Mets-Dodgers games, there was a lot to talk about. But anyhow, we are going to be ignoring a lot of the other noise that people are making about the postseason and the playoffs. Specifically, as much as we may want to, Frankie, we're not going to talk about the advertising on the helmets. And we're not going to talk about stupid Cashman bringing up the Astros and cheating and how the Yankees should have won World Series and they should have been in the World Series since 2009, because that's all BS. Our show is going to be live on Mic'd Up. And then, as always, we're going to post them to the Yankee Coast to Coast page on YouTube.
Yes.
So our outline for today's show, our agenda, World Series preview, position by position.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to go, what's the key if the Dodgers are going to win? What's the key if the Yankees are going to win? And then we'll come out with our bold-faced projections and predictions for the 2024 World Series. How's that sound, Big Adam?
I'm loving it, Big Michael.
I don't think anybody's. I know Joanne's never called you. Joanne's never called you Big Adam. That's for sure.
Big Adam.
Big Adam.
Big A. Big A. Michael, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at some of you. Still think the Guardians in 7.
Yes.
And the Dodgers in 6.
Well, I got the Dodgers.
No, you think the Dodgers in 6 for the World Series, don't you? Well, we'll talk about that later.
Well, over the Guardians. So
I'm talking about your original plan.
My original thing was going to be the Padres, wasn't it?
You like you've been terrible. You've been so far off. I've been spot on everything. I almost got the games right. I said Yankees. I said Yankees in 5. In Yankees in 4. I knew it was going to be Yankees in 4. I said Yankees.
Well, I agreed with you. Yankees in 4 over the. Actually, I might have picked a sweep over the Royals, but I thought the Guardians were going to beat the Yankees.
Yeah, I had the Yankees in 5.
But you had the Phillies. You had the Phillies going to the World Series, big guy.
Yeah, I thought the Phillies were going to look good.
And they lost in the first round, and I had the Padres, and they lost in the first round.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
we both shit the bed on that one. Anyhow, and I think we should be allowed to say that word.
Family show.
Now they say that word on ESPN and they say that word on CNN, so we should be allowed to say that word.
The presidential candidate uses it at least 10 times in every one of his.
Anyhow, so let's get started with our first base analysis.
Yeah.
So this is a tough one because both first basemen are hurt, right? Both of them are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Freeman may be healthier now that he had a week off because, God forbid, they don't take 4 days off. Uh-oh, Adam, where'd you go?
Just closing my window here so that the neighbors don't complain.
Well, the neighbors are going to complain because
they can hear you. They can't hear me, but they can hear you.
Whatever. So anyhow, it's a tough one because, they're both hurt. But I will say this, Rizzo has been freaking fantastic in the playoffs.
Yeah. And
Freeman is obviously the better player overall. But with the injury, it's hard to say that Rizzo is not better than Freeman right now. What do you think? I'm giving a slight edge. I give a slight edge to the Dodgers here, though, because it's still Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, just on star power. Because if he's had a week to rest, and if the ankle is and you know how great their medical staffs are, these guys, they do get them ready to play. That you have to give them. They can't diagnose Shiite from Shinola, but they're very good at.
Hey, don't compare the Muslims to the Shinola. Anyhow,
right,
you're giving it also to Freeman on this one.
I'm going to give it to Freeman, but I am very, very pleased. I think it's a lot closer than it would have been in any other time.
Absolutely. Now, second base is very interesting because if you look at the regular season stats, Lux and Torres were like identical players. Mm-hmm. Both of them had their troubles on defense, but in reality, Torres has been red hot since they moved him to lead off in August. And Torres, and in the playoffs, they've both been red hot.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say, but I'm going to give the edge to Torres on this one because he's been out of control good. The problem the Yankees have is if for some reason they decide to sit Lux in game 2 against Rodon, they're going to get Kike over there at second base, and Kike's all over the place. I don't even know where to put him in my analysis. Kiki's out of control in the playoffs.
Yeah. Don't agree on Lux. I don't think that it's even close. I don't think he's had a great series. He's hitting 208 overall.
Is Lux only in 208? Did I read it wrong?
Yeah. Lux is hitting 208. He barely walks. He's got 2 walks and 24 at-bats. He's okay.
No, you're right. I read it wrong. I'm sorry. I'm mistaken. I have Torres with the big edge. I wrote it down. I have Torres with the big edge.
This is clearly Glaber's win. He deserves it. He's had a great series, and we are on him. He's had a great playoffs. What I love about him is every game he leads off with a hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or absolutely, and puts like 5 or he puts maybe 8 pitches down. So he's giving Soto and Judge an opportunity to see what they're about to face. So I like that a lot. It's been nothing but a great series.
Yes, it is. And when we get to our postseason review of the Yankees, my opinion on Torres is they still shouldn't sign him, but I'm not against giving him the qualifying offer anymore.
Yeah, I would.
We'll see what happens.
But that's another show.
That's another show for another day. Now we get to shortstop where the Dodgers have played Kike and Edman. And Edman is out of control. And I will give Kramer credit. He wanted the Yankees to get Edman, but he really wasn't that good. During the regular season, he was just okay. But 341, 333, 474, 471 with an 811 OPS, which is fantastic. And actually, Volpe, 310, 459, 345, 804 OPS. They've both been really good, much better than their regular seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I give a slight edge to Edman only because he has been better in the playoffs, but it's not a significant edge. I might even call this one even.
Yeah, I think that the big thing that he gives them that I'm afraid this version of Volpe doesn't give us is a little pop. He doesn't seem to have very much anymore. So I'm thinking maybe that's where he's a little stronger. 12 RBIs, that's a lot of RBIs for a shortstop in an 11 game series.
It's a lot of RBIs for any player in the playoffs. So you give him a slight edge to the Dodgers here?
I give that painfully to the Dodgers.
I gave a slight one to the Dodgers too. So then you get to third base, and this is where you get again. Kiki could be here, and Max Muncy, and against Jazz, and Jazz really is not having a good postseason.
No. I'd like to talk about Jazz a little bit.
Go ahead.
It bothers me. He seems to be a little bit too loose for his own good, and it's like, dude, bring it back, roll it. I know this is part of what makes him a great clubhouse guy, and that everyone likes him. He's a great interview, and when I met him at our little event, we met him. He was such a nice guy. He was very friendly, very outgoing. You can see why everyone likes him. It's just that's not what you need right now. If you're striking out as much as this guy, making such bad contact, you got to suck it up a little bit and maybe toughen up a little bit. And he just seems to me like he's having too much fun. Maybe he's got to get a little bit a little upset with himself and start swinging. Not for his 3-run homers. We need singles from this guy. We need him on base, stealing base, creating havoc on the bases. If they're not going to steal, at least make them think you are.
Exactly. I can't really add anything to that because, Muncy's an on-base machine. Even when he's not going well, he's going to get his walks. And Kiki, if he plays third base and they move Muncy around in order to get the lineup ready, or Freeman's not ready and Muncy goes over to first base.
Muncy's on-base percentage. Muncy's got the highest on-base percentage
out of control
of both teams. He's up at 468. 12 walks.
Yeah.
Unreal.
He's a machine. So, so the edge there is clearly to the Dodgers. I think we both agree there.
Yeah.
So now we go out to left field. And this is really interesting because as Yankee fans, we've been pretty happy with Verdugo in the playoffs. But then when you look up, he's batting 194 with a 286 on base and a 258 slugging.
That's a season.
which is worse than the season. But he's having better at bats. And although he should have grounded out into a double play in the last game against the Guardians, he hasn't been hitting into the double plays even when he hits his rollovers to second base. The problem I have is if he's going to bat ninth, which is where he's been batting, and Volpe's on base, Volpe's got to be running when Verdugo's up. Teoscar Hernandez is having a bad playoff as well, but he's getting on base at a 340 clip. So, and Teoscar's clearly the better player as far as regular season, and Teoscar's a very good fielder. So
Teoscar's going to go deep a couple of times. I mean, he's just one of those guys who can hit ball. And I've seen him. He's hit the Yankees hard in the past.
Yes,
where was
exactly.
He? Was he with
the Blue Jays?
Toronto? Where was it? Toronto? Or was he with Seattle?
He was with Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Strikes out a lot, this one's an edge for the Dodgers as well, isn't it?
It is. But the Yankees can pitch to him. He strikes out a lot. He's had 13 strikeouts so far, so I don't know if that's an unusual thing for him. But let's just see what he did during the regular season. But the thing about this team is they probably can exploit the strikeout a little bit more against these guys. Shohei has been striking out a lot.
We'll get to Shohei in a second, and when we get to the DHs. Center field, it's Judge against Pages as I like to call them, Pages and Kiki. Listen, he's an MVP. I have to believe he's going to hit. Have to.
Yeah.
Have to believe. But even when he's not hitting, he's still, his on-base percentage has dropped a little in the Guardian series. But he's hitting 161. He's got a 704 OPS. If Pages is the guy, he's clearly better than Pages even at his current clip. So I would definitely give the edge here to Judge. I would have it be a huge edge, but for the fact that Judge is not hitting. But since Judge is not hitting, it's just a mild Yankee edge.
No, this. I don't believe you're even saying this. This is Judge, what he does to this lineup, even when he's not hitting, is so valuable. He scares the hell out of everybody. He makes Soto better. He makes number 4 hitter better. I'm so glad. I'm hoping. I'm praying that they're not going to go back to the number 4 lineup like they had the last 2 series. They need a better option there. But I think Judge is going to hit. It's going to happen. He started to show signs.
I have to believe he's going to hit. Have to believe he's going to hit. It can't go this long.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and I think the Dodger pitchers. I think the Dodger pitchers. Flaherty is not afraid to throw strikes to anybody. Yamamoto, the Japanese pitchers have a habit of throwing strikes to everybody, and they're not afraid. And when we get to this, I just think Judge is going to hit. So I just have to believe it. Yeah. So edge Yankees, then right field, which is really the glory position here. Amazing. Right field is out of control. Imagine? I mean, Mookie is 295, 404, 659, 1,063 OPS. Soto's 333, 439, 667, 1,106 OPS. Unbelievable. I mean, the two of them are just out of control good.
It's almost an embarrassment to have to even do this. It's not. They're both amazing. I love Mookie Betts. I always have. As soon as he left the Red Sox, I became a huge fan. I like him. He's one of those likable players, and Soto. They're very
shortstop. I mean, he played shortstop to start the season because they needed him to. He even started shortstop one game against the Mets.
Love that. I think that's great.
This is even to me. I mean, it doesn't get much more even than these two guys.
Yeah, because they're so good, it doesn't matter. They're both going to have great. They're going to both be great in the playoffs. Going to be major factors, just annoying the heck out of everybody. I mean, they're going to be up there always. There's always going to be fear. You're going to hear about them coming up. You're going to be prepared for it. And the fact that you've got these two fantastic 1-2 punches in the World Series, so special. That's, to me, the best part of this World Series is Shohei, Betts, and Soto and Judge. It's just that's the marquee 4 right there. It's really amazing when you think about it.
I agree.
4. We're real lucky.
So now we go to catcher, which is kind of scary because Smith is a stud who hasn't hit worth a damn in the playoffs, and Wells is a rookie who's hit even less. 15 strikeouts and 33 at bats. Question is, the Dodgers don't have any left-handed starters, right? They've got Flaherty, Yamamoto, and Buehler. Anyone? Buehler. And a bullpen game. So is Trevino going to get a start? That's the question.
These guys steal a lot of bases. They're leading They're leading the all playoffs with the most stolen bases.
They have 11 stolen bases, and Ohtani has stolen 0.
Yeah.
He has not stolen a base yet. Granted, Max Muncy has 2 stolen bases because the Mets sort of gave them to him. But, and Will Smith is an excellent defensive catcher. Wells is an excellent defensive catcher, despite the fact that he was not supposed to be. With the Dodgers having 3 right-handed starters, perhaps Wells will start to hit. I don't know. But you got to give the edge here to the Dodgers because Smith, overall is a better player.
Yeah, and I think that it's not even a little bit off. There's something really wrong with Wells' bat speed. I just think he's exhausted. Full season.
I don't think he's exhausted. I
don't know what it is, man. His bat looks so slow to me, and he's also absolutely murder on those up and in.
He's got holes.
He will not lay off of up and in stuff at all.
Yeah, and he won't lay off on the fastball. He won't lay off of that up and in fastball.
And
if the righties throw him the hard cutter in.
Anybody who knows, left-handed hitters love low and inside. Up and in, they hate. Every left-handed hitter knows. Talk to Steve Carroll; he'll tell you he loves it low and inside. He just takes it down.
Soto will hit anything, but he's an exception to the rule.
He's not human. But I mean, the problem that I have with Wells is I don't think he can catch up to the inside heat anymore. Not the way his bat looks. Just watch it. Watch some of the swings. They're horrible.
Oh no, I agree. He's having trouble with the high inside pitches, and he does swing. And basically everything up he swings at, he can't lay off it.
He's more of a threat than Trevino, and I don't really have a problem. Here's what worries me. It's a close game. Wells gets on. They want a runner. They put in a runner for him. Trevino comes in. They don't score. The next batter up is Shohei or or
Betts
Edmund. Edmund
or
gets on
Betts.
base, steals second base, steals third, and then
Yeah.
we're sitting there with runners all over, running ragged on our pitchers. I mean, that's
Well, they're going to
problem.
run ragged, but a lot of the running ragged on the Yankees at this point is they're running ragged on the Yankee pitchers. I mean, Rodon is a lefty and has no move to first base. I mean, maybe John Lester had a worse move to first base, but Rodon, they steal left and right on Rodon, and he's a left-handed pitcher because he doesn't want to throw over there. He doesn't throw it away, but he has no pickoff move. But yeah, I mean, I think Wells has got to be the catcher. But by game 3, if he's not hitting and the Yankees are not scoring runs, Trevino, he hit the ball well in the game he played. You can't argue with that. But the edge here's to the Dodgers. Then comes the other marquee matchup is designated hitter, right?
This is interesting. Listen, there's no question. I'm gonna jump on it first. There's no question, Ohtani. He's the greatest player in the world. There is nothing like him. But I'm gonna tell you who's gonna have the better series. It's not just who's a better player. I want to ask you a question right now. Who has a better series, Ohtani or Stanton? Stanton is otherworldly right now. I don't know what it is. We'll talk about it more later to answer our buddy's question. If you want to play it now, you can. But
which one? Oh, this is it. Let's go. Gustavo. There we go.
From South Carolina.
Which of you two crazy nut jobs was Stanton's largest critic all season long? And what do you have to say about it today?
Sounds a lot like my brother Todd Gustavo, but it's Gustavo. So let me say this. I was a critic of Stanton, and my biggest criticism of Stanton was the same criticism I had when everybody was saying the Yankees can't hit left-handed pitching, the Yankees can't hit left-handed pitching. I was like, they can't hit left-handed pitching because Torres and Stanton and LeMahieu weren't hitting, and they're right-handed hitters. Stanton has been unbelievable, but reality is he only had 4 hits in the Guardians series. They just happened to be clutch home runs, all of them. Yep. So I mean, Stanton, it's a question of can he keep it up? And like you said, you got to pick Ohtani the same way you had to pick Judge in center field, even though he's not hitting. And even though Ohtani is not having Ohtani-esque type stats and no stolen bases, those last 2 games against the Mets, he started off the games with hits where he was always hitting with men on base. But Stanton's still got an 1179 OPS. Out of control. That's out of control.
All right, but so I've got to eat crow.
You got to talk about your Stanton bias.
I have been very anti-Stanton. I've wanted him off the team. I've wanted him excised to the Rappahannock School for the Rappahannock School for Girls baseball team. I wanted him like traded. I thought that he was actually a fantasy camp guy. There were moments where I felt that he was a fantasy camp coach because I felt that he was so through. I said, he's not a professional athlete anymore. I said, he's a great power hitter who can hit a ball a mile, but I didn't feel that he was any longer a baseball player because he can't do anything but that one thing. What he's showed me is he's got the ability to rise to an occasion as only a really great professional can. So I take back all of the things I'm not taking back. He had terrible moments. He was at times the worst person on the team. But I have to tell you, there are times like now where he's showing that he is an incredible athlete. Actually still has something. When he hits the ball hard, he's incredible. And the home runs and their timing are amazing. So I give him all the credit. I take responsibility for being very, very harsh, not wrong, harsh on him. And I'm saying now what I love is that he's rising to the occasion, improving my impression, ill-advised, if not wrong.
Well, he definitely rewrites his Yankee legacy, right? With the last playoff run in 19, he was the only guy that was really good against the Guardians.
That's right.
Obviously this year he's been good throughout the playoffs. It does concern me that he didn't have any other hits except for the 4 homers against the Guardians. It does bother me still.
But that's a good thing because he can't run to first base.
Well, that's what I was going to get to is at this point in the season where you're playing for the World Series, I know he's not supposed to run hard, but you've got to run hard because it might be the difference between the game and the not the game. And each game is so important. The other thing is when you said he's an athlete, I will say he is a physical specimen beyond anything I have ever been in my life, but I can beat him in a race, and that's not good.
That's pretty scary because I've seen you run, buddy.
And
It is not
I
pretty.
might as well be going backwards. I think I go faster backwards. I'm going to run the bases backwards from now on.
Try it. You might find it better. But no, so the question that I have, so I hope, thank you, Gustavo. Great question. We appreciate all of your participation. But I was the heavy during the season. I'm now a big fan. But what I'm going to say also is here's my ultimate compliment to
Thank
Mr.
you.
Stanton.
Oh, I thought it was for me.
To the other Mike. Sorry, Mike. Sorry. All right, here's the deal. Ohtani or Stanton? Who has the Mike Stanton or Ohtani? Who has a better
Ohtani.
You think so?
Yeah. I think Ohtani has shown that no moment is too big for him either, whether it be the World Baseball Classic, where he was outstanding and struck out Trout to end the World Baseball Classic, or the fact that every time he came up on base, even when he wasn't hitting in the first couple of series, when guys were on base, he hit, and now he's hitting. He had a great series against the Mets. He's just right now either the best or second best hitter in all of baseball. And right now, he might be the best hitter in all of baseball because Judge is not hitting.
And who hits behind him in the order? Is it
Betts? Mookie?
So no. Oh yeah, it's right because they bat him first. That to me, I don't quite get. But I'm looking at him now. He struck out 17 times in 42 at bats. Got 12 hits. I mean, this guy's all over the place. He has 3 home runs,
11 walks,
and 11 walks. But how many of them were either
I will say this about Ohtani. I do believe that Hill will have success against Ohtani. He had a lot of trouble with Manaea because he was a weird angle type of pitcher, and Hill is a weird angle type of pitcher. Mesa's not necessarily. He's more of an Iron Mike over the top. Rodon, he has a little bit of an odd arm angle.
He's going to throw the slider the whole time. He doesn't want him coming near the pitch. He's going to be thrown outside all the way for him.
We'll see. I mean, the Yankees do have some lefties they could throw at him, but we'll see, and we'll see how he does against the.
All right, so
we'll see how he does against some of the other pitchers the Yankees have.
Clearly, it's still Ohtani,
right.
The DH.
So now, right. So
positional. Let's go to the position. We'll look at the pitching next, but.
So both of us have the same result. Both of us have 6 for the Dodgers, 2 for the Yankees, and 1 tie.
Yeah, the problem is, I have to say, the Dodgers lineup and their offense is more explosive than the Yankees, top to bottom. And I think that they're a great match for this team. This is what worried me. This is why my son and I got into it. I had a lot of Met love towards the end because I started to think that the Mets have some weaknesses that could be exploited. This team, the Yankees had a hard time against, had to really work to beat Cleveland. They had to, even though they won it in 5, they still had to. It was still a lot of work, and it wasn't easy beating Kansas City. These are both weak offenses, relatively speaking.
Well, this is the deal. Soto, Judge, and Stanton have combined for 9 homers and an 11-12 OPS in the ALCS. The rest of the team combined had 0 homers and a 708 OPS. Right?
So nobody hit a home run.
Nobody but those 3 guys hit a home run. Right? So they also had a higher batting average. The rest of the team did hit 281 and they only hit 255, but that's because Stanton and Judge both didn't hit. Right? So that's one of the things. The key to the Yankees offense, and I can't believe I'm going to say this because I think I am harder on this guy than anybody else. The key to the Yankee offense is Gleyber Torres.
Bingo.
If you get Gleyber out, now all of a sudden Soto gets up with nobody on base, which 8 games in a row, Soto's gotten up in the first inning with a guy on base.
It's amazing.
So if you get him out, all of a sudden it's different. And it becomes really different because because Judge isn't hitting. If Judge starts hitting, Gleyber doesn't have to be as unbelievable as he's been. Yeah. Because if Judge starts hitting, all of a sudden it doesn't make a difference. Because I love how none of us and nobody anywhere is ever going to say, well, Soto's not going to hit. Well, guess what? Soto's going to hit. The question is whether or not Gleyber can keep it up, Judge can wake up, and Stanton can keep it up. Whereas with the Dodgers, you've got some depth and length to the lineup. Because Muncy, even hitting in the low batting average, those walks are ridiculous. Betts, unbelievable. Ohtani, great. Freeman's hurt. Kiki Hernandez, the Red Sox fans have to be biting themselves right now how bad he was when he played for the Red Sox and how good he is in the playoffs for the Dodgers. Unbelievable. Yeah. And then Edmund has been unbelievable for the playoffs for the Dodgers as well. So the Dodgers have a little bit more length in the lineup, which is, I think, why we ended up with 6 Dodgers, 2 Yankees, and 1 tie.
Yeah.
So, hey, listen to this one. Oh, my goodness. A brother of mine came in and agreed with me. That never happens.
The key to the Yankee offense is since Gleyber Torres and Soto get on base in the first inning in every single game, that maybe Aaron Judge could actually get a hit in the first inning. I think in the 9 games, he's 0 for 8 with a walk.
Ultimately, I think he's right. The Yankees could have beaten up on everybody in the first inning of every game of the playoffs on the road and at home. But really at the road, if you can pound somebody early on the road, like the Mets did to the Dodgers in Game 2, it all comes down to Judge hitting the ball and Stanton hitting the ball. The other thing I would do is you know who should be batting cleanup if they're not going to bat Stanton cleanup? Rizzo.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they went with Wells and then Chisholm. Why did you take a guy who's not hitting and replace him with a guy who's not hitting? Exactly. Rizzo should be batting cleanup. If he's in the lineup,
they can light a fire. They can light a fire.
Yeah, they're not lighting any fire. It's just not the way it is. So,
Rizzo,
all right, so you ready to do pitching?
Rizzo will give you a good at bat every time.
Rizzo will give you a good at bat, and for some strange reason, with his right hand hurt, he's making solid contact and punching the ball to left center field and left field, which is what he needed. They all need to be doing, which is what Gleyber's doing and what Volpe is doing. They're hitting the ball to right field if you're righties and left field if you're lefties, and that's why they're being better. It's better.
We'll talk about, that's a very big part of my keys to the series.
Mine too.
That again, but let's talk about the pitching now because I think that this is where the Yankees really.
Well, let's go starters first.
Yeah.
Cole, Rodon, Schmidt, and Heel, unless it's Cortez. Yeah. And then the Dodgers have Flaherty, Yamamoto, Buehler, and bullpen game.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be horrific. I mean another one of these series where I did the numbers. This is rough, but they played 100 innings so far, and only 35 of their innings have been by a starter. So that's basically that's barely 3.
Well, Yamamoto pitched 6 innings in 1 start, and he has a total of 12 innings in 3 starts.
He's the most, but everyone else has been a disaster.
And Flaherty had a great start for Game 1 against the Mets.
But the Yankees, on the other hand, have played altogether 79 innings, and 44 have been by starters. So that's about almost 6 innings per, or 5 innings per starter, which is not terrible overall through the whole playoffs, all both rounds. It's still not great, but it's fine. I think the Yankees would love to get more length out of
Cole and Rodon.
Cole tomorrow. Rodon is always a problem because the minute Rodon loses his brain, it becomes eggplant head.
Yes, he needs to. It's sort of like my golf game. I have to avoid the blow up hole in my golf game. I can't get that triple bogey. I got to keep myself from getting triple bogeys. And Rodon, if he gets a triple bogey, he's done. He can't get back on track. And he can't bring himself back. And that's the biggest problem. I don't know if it's emotions. I don't know if it's adrenaline that he just runs out of any oomph. But Rodon has to get more length. He has to throw more strikes.
But listen, there's
nothing about it. But Cole, I would love to see them get 7 out of Cole. Yeah. But I don't know if they're going to be able
6. I'd be happy with 6. But here's the thing: Flaherty, Yamamoto. Flaherty has a 7.04 so far. Yamamoto 5.11. Walker, Buehler has 6.0, and Brazier, was
Brazier's the bullpen guy.
So I mean that's terrible. So these are, I don't know if they're going to play that badly in the World Series. Maybe they won't. But I got to tell you, there is your underbelly right now. And they've got to go after that. And they, that to me is their weakness. Their bullpen is excellent. Another great bullpen. But the Yankees have proven that the strength, the way to beat these bullpens, beat these teams, even if they're not killing the starters, is to get the starters out. So that these guys bring these guys in over and over and over again. By game 3, they are toast, and the Yankees have.
Well, that's the whole thing. I think the Yankees. We both agree the Yankees have a significant edge in starting pitching. I am a little worried. There's 2 things that worry me with regard to the Dodger starters. Well, 3 things. Flaherty. Does Flaherty have a grudge against the Yankees, who came out and said afterward, "Hey, we didn't trade for him because he's got a back injury"? Does that piss him off? I don't know. He's still Flaherty. Who knows what the hell that means?
And again, Cashman with his big pie hole, flapping gums in order to prove to somehow
the smartest guy in baseball.
So that he's not going to be on everybody's Shiite list again. He basically comes out and gives a reason. Why can't he just say, you know what, we decided to go in a different direction, and then it goes nowhere. But instead, he has to come out and say, we're worried about his arm. We're worried about his health.
His back.
Then, of course, it's happened before. They've come back and they've gotten hurt by this stuff.
Of course, then they also trade for guys and they get hurt anyhow. But that's a different story. Frankie Montas, anybody? So the next thing is Yamamoto. You never know what you're going to get with him. He pitched 1 fantastic game and 2 really bad ones. And you never know with these guys that have a lot of international experience. Yamamoto was also very good in the World Baseball Classic. He was good when the teams traveled to Japan to play against the Japanese teams in exhibitions. He was very good. So you never know what you can get. And then Walker Buehler, listen, that last game against the Mets, he was fantastic. He was old-time pre-injury Walker Buehler. The question is he old-time pre-injury Walker Buehler, or is he still up and down Walker Buehler? But then the bullpen game, I mean, come on. The guys that have been pitching the bullpen games for them, Brazier and whatever the other clowns, Honeywell, those guys have been horrible. So the Yankees, the first inning, just like my brother said, the first inning is what's the key to the Yankees, because the Yankees need to get to, and this is where it comes down to this, they need to get to the pen. And we agree the Yankees have the better starters, and I think Ron Darling said it best during the ALCS, and we've said this, right? He said the whole thing in Major League Baseball is don't let the starters get to the 3rd time through the order, because then the players have seen them 3 times, and they're going to hit him, and that's what happens, and yada, 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 yada. Well, guess what? When your bullpen comes in the 3rd inning every game, by the 3rd game of every series, everybody's seen your bullpen guy 3 times. So it defeats the purpose of these bullpen guys being able to sneak up on guys. So
that's the reason.
That's the thing. So that's why you need the length out of the starters. Maybe it works in Major League Baseball during the regular season because you're playing 3-game series or 4-game series against these teams that are not in your division over the course of an entire season.
Somebody else.
Exactly. Right. Whereas when you play, your division 13 or 18 times or whatever it is, they're going to get to hit your guys or not hit your guys. But when it comes to the bullpen, listen, the Yankees have not nearly the depth that the Dodgers have in the bullpen. Weaver, well, did the clock strike midnight on Cinderella? We don't know yet. We have to see. Holmes, I'm going to call him Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Holmes because we don't know what we're going to get from him. Right? So, and then Canley, you explain this to me. If you throw 40 straight changeups, is it still a changeup? Don't you have to throw something at different speed in order for it to be defined as a changeup?
You're no longer
he's been out of control. He's been out of control good. Hill has been a find. Let's face facts. That was a find. And I think Hill's the type of guy that's going to give Freeman and Ohtani and Edman and their left-handed hitters fits. He's just going to give them fits. And Mesa's been fine in the playoffs, but I'm not counting on anything. And Leiter, everybody was saying how great Leiter is in the playoffs. Guess what? He wasn't that good. He just slowed it down, and then the Yankees caught up. He didn't really do anything. So the Yankees bullpen is got some depth to it, but the Dodgers top of the bullpen with Trinan and Phillips, who seems to be back to his 2023 form, and Kopech is scary when he's throwing strikes. Those 3 guys, when they're on, and they have been all 3 on in the playoffs, are a killer bullpen. But if the Dodgers are only going to get 3 or 4 innings out of their starters, that's irrelevant for these guys because you're not going to be able to use these guys. You're still going to have to go back to the Honeywells and the Brazers and the Henriques, who are not good.
Bingo. Okay.
So I give the Yankees a slight edge in the bullpen, even though because of the depth.
And that's funny because you're saying that because everybody gave, and this is the Guardians again. Everybody said Guardians by a landslide in the bullpen. That their bullpen was so amazing. And the reason isn't because of the bullpen. It's because of the starters. People aren't really seeing that enough. Whenever you talk about a bullpen, you have to talk about how often. And you said it yourself. We see them over and over again. They're throwing inning after inning, night after night. Every time there's diminishment. You know, I think that every time they
Absolutely
go out,
agree.
they're losing something. If it's a little bit of bite off the fastball, it's
right.
something.
I mean, think about it. The Guardians had their core 4 relievers with Smith and Clase and what was the other
Heron.
2? What?
Heron
and the other guy with a G. Gaddis. Those 4 guys were unbelievable. Best bullpen in baseball during the season. But when the Yankees see them every day, the Yankees were able to hit them. And that's what's going to happen, hopefully, with the Dodgers. And that's why the Yankees have the edge in the bullpen, is because they might not see everybody every game.
That's
They
right.
might be able to keep somebody back. And the length of the starters is what helps the Yankees bullpen.
And the only one, this is always played out this way. There are very few teams that have amazing bullpens that get through with lots of other weaknesses to win the World Series.
Right.
The one that I think about are the 15 Royals, the ones who beat the Mets. That team had this amazing bullpen. They had 2 closers. It was just an incredible opportunity. They were so good that they were able to handle it. Really, the only one who's been able to do that, and I think that's our beloved Mo, because Mo never, no matter how often they saw him, Mo, for some reason, was able to get these guys out. So the Yankees would go to Mo every single night.
Right.
I never remember
the Red Sox saw him enough that they got to him a little bit. Obviously, the Diamondbacks got to him a little bit.
They didn't get to him. It was a doink.
I still think infield in on that situation was the wrong move. But that's a different story.
It was a
but the Yankees, even when the Yankees were going good, it was always Nelson, Stanton, Rivera. So the starters were going 6 or 7 innings. So you weren't really seeing these relievers. If the starters go 3 innings every game, basically the first reliever is coming in at the same time every game, which means if the first reliever is coming in when the Yankees are in the middle of the second time through the order and they're, the 6, 7, 8 hitters, and it's Rizzo, Volpe, Verdugo, and Wells, they're seeing the same pitcher over and over again the second time through.
That's right.
That's the length of the starters and the depth of the Yankees bullpen is what gives me the belief that the Yankees have the better bullpen. So in reality, we both have the same thing. We both have six for the Dodgers, 4 for the Yankees, and 1 tie.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the managers real quickly. I'd like to talk about Boone, who we've been ripping a new one for 2 and 3 years. Listen, I was dead set that Verdugo should not be in the left field. And quite frankly, it hasn't been the wrong decision. Not that Dominguez has had a chance, and not that Verdugo has been very good, but Verdugo did what he had to do early in the playoffs to deserve to play. Although, if he starts hitting into those double plays, you're going to have to do something out there. And his handling of the pitching staff has been fantastic. The only game that I can bitch and moan about is the game where he wanted Weaver to pitch 2 innings when he should have used Holmes, who was still hot at the time, for 1 inning, and then Weaver for the 9th. But if I can go through the entire playoffs and only pick out 1 inning where the Yankees manager made a stupid decision, the guy's been doing a fantastic job during the playoffs. And Martinez, quite frankly, both of these guys had to get to the World Series to save their jobs. They had to. Both of them did. And Martinez, listen, he's gone into the playoffs where he was really pitching 2 starters in a bullpen game in that first series. And then Buehler all of a sudden came back, and now he's got 3 starters in a bullpen game. And you got to give that guy credit for how he's handled it. But he also has the advantage of depth in his hitting lineup, because he's moving Kiki around, and he can sit Lux, or he could sit Pajes, or he can sit Muncy, or he could sit Freeman and deal with a Freeman injury. Mm-hmm. And play somebody else over there and get Kiki in the lineup. So you got to give Martinez credit. Both of these managers have done fantastic jobs in the playoffs, and both of their fan bases have both been horrendously beating up these guys for years. But both of these managers are doing a great job in the playoffs.
I agree, and you can't say anything about Booney in this one. He's been fine. He really has.
He's been good. He's been better than fine. He's been good.
Yeah, well, I think that he has really managed the bullpen. He's pushed all the buttons the right way. I just think in this series they need to get one more inning out of all of their starters. One more, just push it up just a little bit more and see what happens here.
So what's your key for the Dodgers? Let's go to the Dodgers first. What's your key for the Dodgers if they're going to win?
The Dodgers need starting pitching. To me, the key to the Dodgers is getting that starting pitching. If they get 2 great games instead of 1 out of these guys, if they get 3 great games out of their starters, it's going to be a very painful series.
Well, if they get three great games in the entire series out of their starters, I think it's going to be it's
going to be very, very tough. So my feeling on this one is the key to the Dodgers' success is do what you do. Hit the way you always do. Count on that great lineup, and then pitch into the 5th and 6th inning every night. Pitch into the 6th inning, they're gonna have a real hard time beating this team.
Yeah, if they pitch into the 6th inning, Yankees are toast.
Yeah, that's my feeling.
I agree. I that was what I wrote down. Is the key to the Dodgers is that they need to play offense the way that they're doing. They need to run the bases the way that they run the bases. Ohtani, I think he's going to steal bases in this series. He's got none so far, but Betts has 2, Edman has 3, Muncy has 2. I mean, they have 11 stolen bases. Assuming all things being equal, if they run a little bit more and they get 5 innings, if they average 5 innings per start for their starters, the Yankees are in a lot of trouble in this series. If they get 6 innings 3 times out of their starters in the 7-game series, the Dodgers are going to win the series.
Yeah.
Now for the Yankees. Ready? The key to the Yankees for me is it comes down to the same thing that I thought it was going to come down to against the Guardians, but they beat the Guardians without it. That first inning, Aaron Judge. If Aaron Judge hits, the Yankees lineup has at least 5 players of length because Rizzo has been hitting. And that makes a huge difference. And that will also be the difference between the Dodgers getting 5 innings out of Yamamoto, Buehler, and Flaherty and getting 2 or 3 innings out of those guys. Yeah. And it's going to come down to that. And obviously Weaver's, Cinderella, the clock has not struck 12 on Weaver. That's going to be the key. Because Canley, Weaver, Hill, and hopefully Mr. Holmes and not Dr. Jekyll for the Yankees.
As long as he comes in earlier in the game, as long as they set him in 6th inning instead of putting him into the higher leverage stuff later, I'm okay. Well, I think the problem
higher leverage early in the game, he seems to handle okay.
The problem is that if you're in a tie game and it's late, and even if your starter has been good, there comes a point where you got to put Holmes in a high leverage situation, and those are the ones that scare me. The game that he gave up was that kind of game. It was super close, and sure enough, he was the last man standing out there. And what did he do? He gave up the bomb, and they lost. So it's just who he is. I said it 10 times during our first meeting. I kept saying when we talked about the playoffs, the key to the playoffs, I kept saying, I just keep thinking there's going to be a terrible night with Holmes. And there was. Luckily,
it was parallel with Holmes and Weaver in the same night. The question is Weaver going to come back from that? Because Weaver has not. Weaver didn't close the last game.
That's why when I talked to you when we had our meeting after that game, and I said I really kind of wish they had not had the big comeback almost, because it would have been nice to not. Even though they probably ruined Clase after that. They ruined Clase.
Said Darren.
Yeah. So it's possible, but a side of me that thought they gave up a lot that night, a lot of equity in those last innings.
Yeah, but there's one more thing I want to bring up, and it's an article I shared with you guys after Steve or Mark ran into Cortez at the mall?
Steve
ran into Cortez at the mall, and then the same day there was an article about Cortez says he would risk his career in order to pitch in this World Series. That's what the Yankees need to do. That attitude needs to be from player 1 to 26. Yeah. Boone has to manage every game exactly like that. And quite frankly, if Cortez is activated for this, I would not be surprised if he started game 4 instead of Heel. And I would kind of like that because I think he's going to go out there with the, I don't care if this is the last game I ever pitch in the history of my life attitude. And he's going to be nasty Nestor. And I would feel really good if he would have pitched game 4. I mean, I love Heel, don't get me wrong, even though Mason Miller just won Rookie of the Year. I think that I love Heel, but you know what? I would just the cojones on Nestor. I would love to see him out there in game 4.
Yeah.
And if he's going to be activated, let him start game 4. And, hopefully he can pitch 4, 5, 6 innings. And maybe Heel could come in. I know I said that I didn't want to see Heel in the pen.
Straightened out.
But I would love to see Cortez have an active role in the rotation.
I saw Boone on John Boy the other day, and he said that they don't think that he's stretched out. They don't think
he's not. He's not stretched out.
So it'll take like superhuman on somebody coming off of an injury. I don't know. I see him coming in for some very, very important left-handed at bats in the series. Maybe against Betts. You see Betts coming up.
Betts is a righty.
I mean Ohtani.
Ohtani. Now talk about a guy who can go from different arm angles. That would be another guy who can go different.
That's what I mean. A guy like he'll do that big sweeper to the right, and then I could see.
He'll go sidearm. He'll go overhand. He'll do the hesitation pitch. He'll do all sorts of stuff that he could do against their lefties, against Muncy, against Ohtani, against Edman.
Yeah, I could see.
And he throws strikes. So
my key is a little different than yours. As I've said in the last series, attacking early, but not the way they attacked last time. They let these guys off the hook. They can't let the Dodgers off the hook.
No, they
cannot let.
I agree. That's why I said Judge. Just like my brother said, Judge hits in the first inning. None of these series were series because of how good Torres and Soto were.
That's right. So if they attack early, if they're up 3 to one of the games that I loved, and I'm not sure if it was game 2, where they were up 5-1 or something in the third inning. That was the game plan that I had been talking about. They attacked the starter, made him knock him out early. The next thing you know, their bullpen is on fumes by the third game, fourth game, and I love that. That's what I think they need to do. Same thing. I think Judge is going to hit great. I'd like to see more love out of the cleanup hitter. I think they will get more. I'm telling you, here's my big thing. The key to me, and you're going to disagree, they need a big series from Jazz. Jazz needs to be great in this series. I want to see him steal. I want him on base. I want him stealing. I had that big spiel about him earlier for a reason. I think he's more important to this team winning than anybody thinks. He needs to do more. I'm not even talking about third base. His third base is fine. A couple of errors here and there, God help us. But he's got a shotgun arm. I love what he can throw to from third base. What I don't like is this sort of mamsy-pamsy approach at the plate. He shouldn't be striking out so much, and his contact has been weak. I think he has a series, and I don't think he needs to hit 3 home runs. He hits a home run, gets 5-6 hits in this series, 7 hits, a couple doubles, steals 4 or 5 bases, and he will be killing these guys. They'll be a mess. They don't know what to do with them. And
I agree. If he has an on-base percentage of .350 in this series, he'll be able to run ragged on them.
That's what I mean.
I don't disagree. I mean, obviously, I think if the Yankees can get something in the first inning, whoever's the 4 hitter, if it's not going to be Giancarlo that's hitting 4th, we both seem to think it should be Rizzo. If they can have a 1 through 5 that can pound people early in the games and then come back in the second inning with Jazz leading off and getting on base and stealing a base and Volpe hitting like he's been hitting, moving the runners over so that there's no double plays, and hopefully Wells can make some contact and not into double plays. The lengthening of the Yankee lineup is definitely going to be the key to them winning. But like you said, getting into the bullpen for the Dodgers early in the series, early in the first game, early in the second game is going to be crucial.
Will pay dividends. It's like a body blow.
They'll have nobody for that bullpen game in game 4, and they'll be sitting there with Brazier and Honeywell and Enriquez, who are not good pitchers. Enriquez has got a killer arm, but he's not a good pitcher.
It's the equivalent of a boxer going to the body early.
Yep.
It always hurts later on. No matter what, it takes him down. He takes a risk of getting inside and getting hurt. But the way I look at it is it always pays dividends. That's my feeling on this. Get them first, get those guys in early, quickly, break them down, and then the dividends will be in game 4 and 5. My feeling on this one, buddy, it's a great series. I see 7. I think 7 really tough games. I think the Yankees can win it. I think Yankees can win it in 7. I do believe Yankees in 7. I'm not just saying that because I'm a homer. I do think.
Well, then you're going to laugh at what I'm going to say because I think the Yankees are winning in 6.
Okay, great.
Because I think I am saying the Yankees are winning in 6 because I have faith in Aaron Judge, and I have faith in Cole. I have faith in Rodon, and I have faith that the Yankees lineup is going to do exactly what we've been talking about, which is pound them early to get into that bullpen.
And I'm thinking Yankees in 7 only because this team is elite and they're going to rise to the occasion. So it's going to be a tough battle. But I say Yankees in 7. I'm writing it down here for future, for posterity. Yankees in 7. The key to me is attack early and Jazz.
And mine is attack early, starters, and Judge. Not necessarily in that order, but the attack early is clearly, we're counting on Torres being as what he was, and we're both counting on Judge being Judge. So there we got it.
Have anybody
we both
who
picked
wants
the Yankees.
To
That's
here?
a jinx. My brother Todd has a comment about the series, and that's about all that we got left there. You ready? Oops, I'll get there yet.
When the guys in the bullpen for every team only have one pitch and they throw it 30, 40 times a game, unless they're Mariano Rivera, sooner or later they're going to get hit. I mean, look at the guy in the Yankees who threw a changeup 40 straight times. Sooner or later,
he didn't get hit.
Canley didn't get hit.
Canley didn't get hit. What's wrong? Todd, you're a putz. Come on.
You call my brother a putz? Only I get to call my brother a putz.
You just did.
But yeah, we just went through this. Canley's thrown 97,000 straight changeups and they haven't hit him. But, he's an exception to the rule. Rivera is truly, Rivera, and there's nothing to it. But
do we have anything from G-Man?
Nobody is predicting the series. Nobody gave us a prediction, so they're all useless.
I would like to hear somebody say that. So the G-Man, let's just play this real quick, and we'll do it very fast. I do want to play our new attendees.
What is the Yanks' greatest deficit in position play, and what is their greatest asset?
Okay. Greatest deficit in position play is, at this point, I hate to say it, probably catcher. That's where they're really hurting because they just don't have a guy. They don't have a guy who can hit right now. Great catcher, but he's not a good hitter.
I would go left field.
You go left field?
Yeah.
You go to left field.
I go left field. I mean, the Yankees have 3 weaknesses. Left field, third base, and catcher are all very weak.
Yeah.
Offensively.
So right now, that's why I don't think you're going to get anything more out of Verdugo than you've got now. I don't see it. I know I've said that before, and he's come back and surprised me. But he always does this. He has one great game and then 5 sneakers. That's just who he is.
As long as he doesn't hit into double plays, I'm going to be okay with him.
He's fine. So but my feeling is I think they've got a deficit catcher, and I think their greatest strength is center field. Sorry, not even close. Center field, he is.
Well, that's their biggest. I think that's their biggest advantage.
Yeah.
Over the Dodgers, but their biggest strength is still right field. I mean, if you're looking at what's their biggest strength without comparing it to the right fielder of the Dodgers.
But that's what I mean. But when I think what he means by the question is where they're strongest and where they're weakest relative to the Dodgers.
Okay, so then I would say center field as well. If not starting pitching, that would be the other one.
Yeah, interesting. He's asked positionally. All right, my friend, I'm gonna go eat dinner. It's really late here, but I want to go enjoy a little time.
I'm gonna go. I have to go eat some dinner. I'm making myself some fajitas tonight. What are you having for dinner?
I have a little. I have pasta bolognese, homemade.
Oh, that's my wife's favorite. Why aren't we invited for dinner?
Because we don't invite people like you to our house. I'm sorry.
I said my wife, not me.
Oh, your wife we invite in a second. It's you that we leave. We leave you down at the McDonald's down the block.
Wait, I don't see a prediction. Todd says that he sent us a prediction, but here we go. Todd did send us a prediction. Let's go. We'll get one prediction.
Although I will be rooting for the Yankees to win it all, unfortunately, I think the Dodgers are going to win the World Series in 6 games. Main reason, I don't think they're going to be able to control Ohtani and Betts, and they're going to kill the Yankees.
Wow,
But
Yankees.
I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Are they gonna? The Yankees are going to be dead.
And I'm
Does
the
that
only
mean?
one listening, so that's the only prediction you're going to get.
What I don't understand is he thinks the Yankees are going to be dead. There's going to be no more Yankees after this series. They're going to be dead. They're going to get killed by Ohtani and Betts. That's not good. All right, we will speak to you tomorrow after the game. Adam, you and I need to touch base with our plan. I will speak to you tomorrow.
We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye, folks. Have a nice day.